Let's do this. The Cult of Hockey podcast by the faithful and for the faithful. I'm David Staples of the Edmonton Journal. I'm with Bruce McCurdy. Welcome, Bruce.
Hey David, how are you doing tonight?
Yeah, okay. Just a tough game tonight for the Oilers. 3-0 loss to the Vegas Golden Knights. And not a lot to say about this one. So we'll do our two good things, two bad things, and two numbers. Bruce, what's your good thing?
My good thing is here Oilers fans have got what we long said we wanted. We're at the end of February, and the team is playing for first place against the division rival in a head-to-head showdown. The way the game ended up, of course, is not going to make people happy, but the fact is we're playing. People wanted meaningful hockey in February. Well, that was a meaningful game, and it was a pretty good game at times, but in the end, the Oilers didn't have enough gas in the tank against a well-rested opponent that was laying in wait for them a little bit.
Yeah, back-to-back. I guess we've forgotten about the back-to-back thing, haven't we, Bruce? Because the Oilers have done so well this year in back-to-backs. But the Oilers kind of looked like a team on the end of a back-to-back as the game went on. Vegas took over in the second period.
They came out fast. And as often happens in a back-to-back, the team that played the night before has a stronger start to the game. And the Oilers were, I thought, for the first 10 to 15 minutes at least, the much better team. And then they gave up a kind of a backbreaker goal, and the game kind of tilted the other way after that. But
the grade A chances were 10-1 in the second period for Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
They just absolutely started to play physical hockey, and they took over the game. So, yeah, that was a tough one for the Oilers. All right, my good thing, Bruce, is, well, it's kind of a reverse good thing. I just think this is the kind of game. It can be a wake up call for a team in a good way. Like you just play a team which is focused, determined, has a game plan. Comes out there and dominates you for large spells of the game. And I think that can be not crushing for a team, but it can be a good thing for this Oilers team to just see, okay, here's what we're up against. Just a reminder of exactly what they're going to be facing in some of these really good teams in the NHL, especially if they get to the playoffs, when they get to the playoffs. This is what's ahead of them. Teams that are, disciplined, determined, can create scoring chances, will come after you, will play physical hockey. And you just got to, you've got to get some bounces, and you've got to get the better goaltending. And the Oilers kind of got neither, but they also got outplayed, I think, somewhat in this game, especially, of course, the second period. So, you don't want to make too much of this, because it is the back end of a back-to-back against a really tough team. And the Oilers do have some significant injuries. So, again, not to make too much of it, but I do think this was a bit of a wake-up call. And here's the reality of the NHL. There's some bloody good teams out there, and they're going to come after you. What's your bad thing?
Yeah, some nights you're just going to play well, and the other team's going to play better and take the game. And tonight, the Oilers did have some good moments, but
they did.
They, I mentioned Vegas played their last game in Anaheim on Sunday, and they got to sit around at home while Edmonton played in Anaheim on Tuesday and went straight on to Vegas in that extra game. I think it showed in their legs tonight. My bad thing is I'm going to go with something you just mentioned, the bounces. The Oilers didn't get any bounces in this game, and they rang on their best chances. McDavid rang a shot off the crossbar. Leon rang a shot off the post. And then a Vegas guy wires a 60-foot shot through from the point, and it rings the post. But guess what? It bounces off the post and into the net. And it was, the Oilers were just on the wrong side of the inch. And so many chances that were close, and either Fleury made a miraculous save or, it was... I think the game was closer than the score, and Oilers are very unlucky to have 0 at the end of the night. And I mean, credit where due. Marc-Andre Fleury is a terrific goalie who just got a boost in his motivation by the team going out and acquiring a high-priced backup goalie, and he had a new goalie on the bench watching him perform, and I think that probably raised Fleury's game some, but he was terrific in this game, and he was a little bit lucky, and so.
Yeah, with the grade A chances at 16-12, you'd expect the score to be maybe 4-3.
Hmm.
Grade A chances are 25% chance going in on average, right?
Hmm.
That's what we found over the years. So this was more like a 4-3 game. And the funny thing was that Vegas scored on 2 grade B shots.
Yeah.
So this is my bad thing. Koskinen actually had lots of really, really good moments. Second period, he was fantastic. But, the first goal, can't let that in, Bruce. Like
Hmm.
that's just a killer. Guy coming down the wing and beats you from that spot. Sure, I guess it's a perfect shot, but it seems to me if the goalie's playing it right, he's going to get that perfect shot. There shouldn't be much of a hole there. So my bad thing is Koskinen on that one, and on he was a little deep in his net, I thought, on Theodore's shot in the third period as
Hmm.
well. Could have been out more. Maybe that's the case with the first goal as well. You can't let in that shot in the NHL and win hockey games. And
Hmm.
you know, people will say, well, both of them were perfect shots. Well, got to stop them.
From the angle of Pacioretty was shooting, there should be against a 6'7" goalie, there should be nothing.
Yeah,
I don't care what I mean, he's at an angle where, he's not seeing the net like this. He's seeing it like this, on a very, very narrow angle. It doesn't take a very wide goalie to fill the net from. I mean, because he was way below the face-off dot where he let that go. And I don't think he put it over his shoulder. I think he put it beside his shoulder inside the short side post, and that hole just can't be there. And again, on the third goal, Koskinen's looking out to his left, and the shot's going to his right and off the post and in. Again, a seeing eye perfect shot, but again, so far out there, and I don't think he was that screened. It was
no,
on the screen a guy. He was just, um, I'm not sure.
he's
And
had a
in the
few of
mean,
those where. Go ahead.
in the meantime, he's stopping everything. Like the second period, as you say, he was phenomenal. He's the only reason the Oilers were not down by multiple goals after the second frame. Even taking into account the first goal was uh, a bit weak. Uh, they could have come out of the first period 0-0 and still easily been down two, if not three, after the second. So I'm going to be muted in my criticism of Koskinen, but sure, I didn't like those goals either the first or the third goal, especially the first goal. I read some people thought Darnell Nurse got a piece of it, but I went back and I watched the replay a number of times and I listened for tips. Old goalie clue. You can hear stuff. And I heard nothing in the way of tip. And again, at the source of where the shot was, even if he tipped it perfectly, it shouldn't change the fact that the goalie should have the net covered from that angle. So
This is the first goal.
the first goal.
The first goal.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the third one, there's been a couple where he's been looking the wrong way around someone or not,
Hmm.
and again, this is a point shot. He should be out far enough to get that, and he was not
Hmm.
in position to make that save. So
Short
that's my
side.
bad
Yeah.
thing. What's your number?
Well, I'm going to go with 26, and that is the number of shot attempts by three Oilers: uh, Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl, and Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. You may have heard of them. Uh, Among the three of them, they had 26 of Edmonton's 58 shot attempts, and an identical percentage, 13 of Edmonton's 29 shots on goal. So literally, very close to half of the Oilers' offense came off the sticks of those three players.
Wow.
Leon had four shots on goal, 10 at goal. Connor had five shots on goal, nine at goal, and Nuge had four and seven. And so those were the guys bringing it on the offensive side of the puck. They had precious little help offensively tonight, to be frank. But I, for one, am not prepared to say, well, they got shut out because their big guys couldn't score. No, they couldn't score, but it wasn't for a lack of trying. And they rang posts and crossbars, and Fleury made a number of terrific saves. He made one tremendous glove save off of Nuge that springs to mind, and stopped Connor at point blank range more than once. And even right in the first minute of the game, he robbed Leon on two shots right in a row. And they brought it, and they just weren't able to solve a world class goalie. And so I'm going to say credit where due, with the possible exception of Oilers' power play, which had pressure, but they could not generate shots. And in a game where each team had three power plays, Vegas had eight power play shots and Edmonton had one. So that's not enough pressure.
Draisaitl kept fanning on it in that first power play.
One power play, yeah. He would
fighting the puck. Okay, my number is two numbers, is 910 and .910 and .903. That's the save percentage of Koskinen and Smith right now. And Koskinen's at 910 and Smith's at 9.3. So Koskinen's on a bad week run of games here. He's been struggling more. But it's interesting to see he's still ahead of overall in Smith in terms of save percentage. And he's got 16 wins and 15 losses now. Koskinen does. And Smith has 17 wins and 16 losses. Oh. So Smith's caught up in that regard. There was earlier in the year, Koskinen was way ahead on the one loss, and now Smith's caught up to him in terms of winning percentage. So, but I think it goes to show you do need two goalies, and Smith had a really rough patch in December. Koskinen's been kind of struggling January, February somewhat. His save percentage hasn't crashed though, I don't believe. I'd have to check that though. I don't think it's been as good. Like, it's been going down.
Marginally,
but I guess the reason I'm bringing up the 910 for him is he's still a good goalie, and he showed that tonight in stretches, and they're going to need both of these goalies to get through this patch. Like, it's going to be, we now have another player, Andres Athanasiou, out with an injury, a mystery injury. I guess he went out after the second period.
Played one shift in the third. I rewatched it thinking I might see something, but whatever it was that was bugging him, he probably heard it in the second and came out and tried it for that one shift, because he didn't seem to be particularly laboring, but he went off and never came back. And a little while later, they said he had a lower body injury and wouldn't be back. Just what Oilers need. They're every other game losing of a top 10 kind of team player. Like, it's one after another. It's just a steady stream, and I'm still waiting for the one where they come back the next day and they say, well, it's not as bad as we thought, and he'll be playing next game. But no, they keep coming back and say, well, he's out for a few weeks, and it's getting old.
Did you hear that Yamamoto skated today?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's good news.
Yes.
Cassian's back after the next game.
Yeah, he's back in the next game, so he's now got a spot. So, and he thought that he might not play with McDavid because of the new guys. Well, guess what? One of the new guys is doubtful for next game. I think it's fair to say that at this point. So, but it's totally frustrating. I mean, what, they got 7 guys hurt now? So
yeah, this is.
And you know what? For all that they were riding pretty high there, the Oilers have won one of their last 5 games since coming back from Carolina. They lost in overtime. They lost in regulation. They got a win. They lost in overtime. They lost in regulation. So it doesn't look like a losing streak, but it's 1-2-2, and that doesn't tread water. They got to find a way to win a couple games here. They got one home game against Winnipeg, and then right back on the road against the Central Division. Pretty tough 3-game and 4-day road trip next week, just like this week's.
Well, Cassian's not coming back a game too soon, and Yamamoto, hopefully he'll be back pronto. And Clefbaum, yeah, they're starting to miss. They missed him the day he left, obviously. Right. Oscar Clefbaum. Jones has done an okay job. He's kind of hanging in there, but they miss Oscar Clefbaum.
The last game he played was that Carolina game. So without Clefbaum, they're 1-2-2. So they miss him.
Indeed. All right, Bruce. So what next up is Winnipeg? What night is that?
Saturday night, February 29th. at Rogers Place. Big game.
Alrighty.
Another big game in February. We asked for it, Oilers fans, and we're getting it. So
Thanks for talking tonight, Bruce.
thanks for listening, everyone.
And in the meantime and in between times, this has been another edition of the Cult of Hockey podcast.